Good morning, students. Welcome one and all for our today's online session. Today, we are going to do the second part of figures of speech. In our last session, we had done some kinds of figure of speech, those prominently and more frequently used by speaker or poet in the poetry. Uh, in this session, we are going to do the remaining figure of speech. So let's start our today's session. The next figure of speech, that is apostrophe. An apostrophe is a direct address to date, to absent, or to personified object or idea. This figure of speech is special form of personification. Now, what is the means of apostrophe? In apostrophe, here some absent or dead thing directly addressed by the speaker. It is a kind of personification at where the things or that object that we're going to address is not present in that particular scenario. But then also we directly address to that thing. म्हणजे या ठिकाणी जे ऑब्जेक्ट असतं ते त्या ठिकाणी जे ॲड्रेस केलेलं असतं ते त्यावेळेला त्या सिनारिओमध्ये किंवा त्या ठिकाणी असेलच असं नाही किंवा ते नसतंच राहतं. पण तरीही ते त्याचा उल्लेख केलेला असतो. त्याचा इट डिरेक्टली रेफर्ड, इट डिरेक्टली ॲड्रेस, अँड देअरफॉर दिस काइंड ऑफ दिस फिगर ऑफ स्पीच नोन एज ॲपॉस्ट्रॉफी. We have written the example. Oh, stars and clouds and whites, ye are all about to mock me. If you really pity me, crush sensation and memory. Let me become as naught. But if not, depart, and leave me in the darkness. Now, here it not required, it not necessary that these all absent objects should be there, should be actual there. Means absent objects like stars, clouds, winds, right? But it directly address the speaker or the poet Mary Shelley. He directly, the writer Mary Shelley directly addressed to these all things. So that is a means of apostrophe. When any absent or dead thing we directly refer, directly address, that time the figure of speech has taken place, that is apostrophe. Next we are going to see the another example. Oh lovely orange, you golden treat. Oh tell me why aren't you easy to eat? Again, it is absent object. Orange is absent object, but it directly address. So that the thing of apostrophe. Next we are going to say antithesis. Next figure of speech. In antithesis, a striking opposition or contrast of words or sentiments is made in the same sentence. It is implied to secure emphasis. When two contradictory uh, two contradicted words or phrase come together with balanced statement, that is a means of antithesis. I always used to say like that. When two contradictory terms, two contradictory phrase, two contradictory words come together with proper justification, with proper balancing statement, that is a means of antithesis. We have seen such example: love and hate, good and evil, peace and war. These all are the examples of antithesis, at where we found striking opposition or striking contradictory ideas, words or phrases come together. Speech is silver but silence is golden. Here also, that is another example. Speech is silver. Speech and silent. These the both are striking contradictory terms, but it's formed in a such way that it making something balanced statement. So that is a means of antithesis. Antithesis always join together um, the coordinating conjunction like and, but, or, right? So that is a means of antithesis. Now we move forward. Oxymoron. Oxymoron is a special form of antithesis where two contradictory qualities are predicted at once in the same thing. Two contradictory. In antithesis, what happens? Two contradictory terms come together for making a balanced statement. Here, two exact opposite words. Exactly opposite words uh, can be predicted in same thing. For example, here, pretty ugly. Pretty means छान. Ugly, you know the ugly. खराब वगैरे. But these two opposite, exact opposite ideas predicted or placed with each other. Oh, the another example of oxymorons, known secret. Known and secret, opposite. Orderly, confused. Def- deafening silence. Confirm rumor. Awfully nice. Again, we have seen that it should be two contradictory or exact opposite ideas or words placed or predicted with each other at the same thing at the same time. That is a means of oxymoron. Irony. Irony is a mode of speech which the real meaning is exactly the opposite of that which is literally convey. Means in irony what happened, we want to say something and it actually the meaning of that particular statement that should be something different. So that is a means of irony. For Brutus is honorable man, so are they all the honorable men. This is a quote, this is a famous quote, right? Mark Antony had made this famous quote, and where he said that in irony, he said that Brutus is honorable man. However, Mark Antony does not agree in saying that Brutus is an honorable man, then everyone is honorable. In effect, he is no different than anyone else. Means he want to say, if the Brutus is an honorable man, why should not every man should be honorable? But as like that, every man should not become an honorable man. Why should Brutus become an honorable man? So that the thing he want to emphasize, and that the thing of that is a special features of this figure of speech in irony, that speaker conveys something different, and he actually want to say something different. That is a means of irony. Now we move forward. Metonymy. Metonymy is designated to be name of something else is generally associated with. It's something else. The crown for the king, right? Metonymy is means literally a change of name. Is object designated to be name of something else, which is generally associated with. It's generally associated with something else, right? Crown, the crown. For example, the crown. Crown is generally associated for king. So, in metonymy, the same thing has happened, that is designated the name that is generally associated. For example, we can say we have so many things should be there. So, it should be like that. Transfer epithet. Transfer epithet means in this figure of speech, epithet means adjective, uh, is transfer from its proper words to another that is closely associated with same in the sentence. Means it actually, that epithet means adjective had transferred it transferred to something different, but it associated with something different. आता जनरली आपण ज्या वेळेला विशेष आपण म्हणतो त्यावेळेला विशेषण हे कुणाच्या म्हणजे ज्या शब्दासाठी असतं त्या शब्दाच्या बरोबर विशेषण येतं. म्हणजे समजा मोठा भाऊ आपण म्हटलं, समजा बिग ब्रदर, एल्डर ब्रदर असं आपण म्हटलं तर एल्डर हे समजा ॲडजेक्टिव्ह असेल तर ते त्याच्यानंतर येणारा फॉलोड ब्रदर, तर असं साधारण विशेषण असतं. पण इथे काय असतं की ॲक्च्युली विशेषण इपिथेट वेगळ्यासाठी वापरलेलं असतं आणि ते असोसिएशन, त्याचं असोसिएशन आणखीन वेगळेशी असतं. फॉर एक्झाम्पल तुम्ही बघा ड्रीमलेस स्लीप. आता हिअर इट नॉट इट associated with sleep. Our adjective dreamless is associated with sleep, but it not actually relate to sleep, right? It's something else. We have the another example. I admit it was a fun day. Again transferred. The girls' experience were fun, not the day. The same thing. String epithets: a plum, a rosy cheek, wholesome, apple-faced young woman. Transfer epithet: sleepless pillow, merry hours, unbreakfast morning, drunken, dark. These all are the examples of transfer epithet. In transfer epithet, the adjective is actually belong for something else, but it associated with something different. So that is a means of transfer epithet. Now we will move forward to next. The climax is arrangement of series of ideas in order to increase the importance. Climax is a arrangement of series of words, right? That in from that we want to get what should be important. म्हणजे एक पद्धतीची अशी एक साखळी असते, शृंखला असते आणि ज्याच्यातून आपल्याला कळतं की ह्यातलं काय सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं आहे. देर आर 3 थिंग्स दॅट विल एंड्युअर: फेथ, होप अँड लव. बट द ग्रेटेस्ट ऑफ दिस इज लव. Again, there is a series of words, a series of ideas. That arrangement of series of ideas in such way that we come to know about what should be more important. Right? That is the means of climax. In anticlimax, it is opposite to climax, sudden descent from higher to lower. It chiefly used for the purpose of satire or ridicule. He lost his family, his car, and his cell phone. What should be more important? As I told you, in climax there is a arrangement of series of words from where we come to know about which is important. In anticlimax it should be exactly opposite to climax, and where it arranged like that it suddenly descend from higher to lower. It descend from higher to lower, and that the thing, and it generally used to show uh, for the purpose of satire when we have to ridicule something. He lost his family, his car, and his cell phone. What should be more important? Family should be more important. But we arrange in, because we want to make a satire, we want to ridicule that thing. Therefore, we arrange in a different way. That the most important thing come first, and most that the thing which should not be more important, that should become at the line. So that is a means of anticlimax. It this particular concept is exactly opposite to climax. uh, Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is a formation of word from sound associated with what is name. Means onomatopoeia, when this such figure of speech happen, that the word from a sound associated with it is a formation of word from where or by using that word we come to know about the sound that associated to that word. म्हणजे या ठिकाणी असे शब्द असतात की ते शब्द वाचल्यानंतर किंवा ते वापरल्यानंतर त्यांच्या संदर्भातला कुठला साऊंड असू शकतो हे आपल्याला लक्षात येतं. फॉर एक्झाम्पल कुकू, वी गॉट द साऊंड स्वीट सीझर. सो सेम ऑनोमोटोपिया. वर्ड्स दॅट इंटिमेटेड साऊंड दे डिस्क्राईब. बर्ड्स, स्प्लॅश. म्हणजे असे ऑनोमोटोपियामध्ये काय असतं की वर्ड्स ॲक्च्युली इंटिमेट साऊंड दे डिस्क्राईब. इट डिस्क्राईब the intimate sound, what they actually hold. Means words that intimate sound they describe. म्हणजे असे शब्द की ज्या शब्दामुळे त्यांच्याशी रिलेटेड असणारा साऊंड आपल्याला कळतो, त्याला ऑनोमोटोपिया म्हणतात. सो दॅट इज दी फिगर ऑफ स्पीच. वी हॅव सीन so many figure of speech as like anaphora, then antithesis, contradictory ideas with proper justification or more balanced way. Then we have seen oxymoron. We have seen the another figure of speech that should be onomatopoeia. So we have seen such kind of this figure of speech: climax, anticlimax, what happen in climax, what happen in anticlimax. So these terms, these all terms we have seen. Some of the examples of these particular figure of speech also we have seen. So I hope you definitely understand this particular session of figure of speech. Now we move forward and we have to check out your we have to test your knowledge as like our previous session. Again we have written some lines, and you have to find out what should be figure of speech in that line. I have given three we can say three options for it. So you find out your own response regarding it. Same thing for the here also. The buzzing bee startled me. What should be figure of speech of this line? I have given three options over here. You like $1,000,000. Here also you have to find out what should be figure of speech from these three options. You look pretty ugly in that dress. Again you have to find out the proper answer. So in a way you have to testify your knowledge. So in a way we wrap up this session. I want to say that you definitely understand this particular concept of figure of speech. We have seen at least 12 to 15 figure of speech. I hope I have confidence that all of you must definitely understand the concept of figure of speech. If still you have doubts, you can ask me. And one more thing you have to do, just try to find out the examples of figure of speech from poem. First the song of first poem and second poem, Indian Weavers and Song of the City. They are both poem 1.1 and 1.2. You have to write the all the examples of figure of speech from both poem 1 and poem 2. So we wrap up this session by saying goodbye. Thank you everyone.